As my ex-drummer used to say, when we did a really bad recording, he'd say, "It's in the can." And me and the guy who owned the studio, we would just laugh like, "Oh God, that's so not in the can." But he was out of his mind. So I streamlined this platform I'll be uploading to the Hightail. It's I got rid of all the EAs in here, even the ones that came with it. So there's nothing there to torture you with. And then there's still tons of indicators in here, but I got rid of all the non-drop orders. So I created a directory called B that's nothing but buy limits, and they will turn into sell limits or single drop. So it's really a drop order entry system. And that's the concept is that you choose your risk on each. I guess it's like putting chips on the table, playing craps. You have to pick your you gotta pick your thing, pick your number, like bingo, right? Put your chips on the table. So here I have and I don't have as many cells as buys naturally, but here's the way I configured it. As I bring these over to the favorites list because these are drag and drop only. So when you go like this, you can't double click and launch that. You have to pick the spot. So left side of the chart I have set up, and the timestamps probably aren't right. It said 12 hours there, but if you open up the script it says 3, so you're gonna have to double check all this stuff. That's why I would never charge for it, because people would say, well, wait a minute, this is supposed to last for 12 hours and only lasted for 3, or maybe it does last for 12. I don't even know. You have to open up the damn file to look at it. So if you hit enter, the problem is if you double click on that, try to launch it, you're going to basically go into edit mode, which is nothing wrong with that, because then it keeps you from over trading. You know, just go into edit mode. So if you look in here, it actually says that this will last for 8 hours, which is completely different than what it says here, and it actually says here that it lasts for 3 hours. So it's all fucked up. I'm just going to let you know up the front. I'm not going to fix it, because everybody should check before they get into an airplane if the gauges really do work. It would just seem common sense. I did put buy stop and buy limit here, so I got that right. And this will flip depending whether you put it in above or below current price. So if I put this above current price, which I wouldn't really do unless the market was super quiet. So, and a lot of these things don't even exist. Well, let's close all windows just to make sure. So let's go back to the nonsense at hand. So here's triple screens. I call this triple screen trading. This is an idea from Alexander Elder, but he actually only did 2 screens, but he called it triple screen trading. So what I have put on the right side here is a 10 pip grid. This is a 25 pip grid in the middle, and this is 50 on the left. Now that's a daily, and it's appropriate to look for trades that are 50 pips on the daily. Now with a 50 pip stop to make 100 pips, I also put on here the I took my Fibonacci. I deleted all the unnecessary tools off this, and I put them in groups. So you have, here is your zoom, here is your templates. There's only 3 templates in here: the 10 pip, and I made them slightly different colors so they kind of look different, you know. But you just do it to taste. This is a little darker, this is a little bit paler. And say I wanted to really trade the fuck out of this thing, and I had a 30-minute and half-hour orders here. I could just hand place them and say, oh, you know what, this right here on the 10-yard line looks like a good place to get in for the next X. Now if you put an order that lasts, say, 15 minutes down here, do you think you'll get filled in 15 minutes? And that is the ultimate question of order placement. Do you think you'll really get filled on that? Are you being realistic? Now in 12 hours, could we come down here? It's actually 8 on this. It's set to 8. So you think in 8 hours we could make it down, say, to this area here, which is a big deal, because this is where they trapped all these traders down here. So you're looking for the traps, and I have a high moving average. This is the white line is 1 period on highs, and the closing line is from the computer, just from MetaTrader's closing price, the yellow line. And and the black is literally the lows. So I'm taking away all that candle stuff, because we don't do that unless we actually found a woman, right? Unless you maybe swing the other way, right? Maybe candles the other way for you. So take a walk on the wild side. So they and the color girls say, no offense to them, if your buy limits start here and they go to here, it makes total sense that you're going to have to get out here. So it may be you're going to trade the whole hammer. You get in, you get in down here, say, and you're going to scalp into here. So this void, it's the space it's where the price hasn't been that's more important than where the price is. So the way I know people build all these pivots and stuff, but never forget that all that pivot is based on the price that has happened. It's the price that hasn't happened that's the scary stuff, especially when the market goes sideways too long. Now, if you go to the monthly with the how many pip grid that is? Okay, this is 25 pips here on this grid. So what is the, how tight a stop are you running? So I run the grid that matches the stop. If you're going to put an 18 pip stop, and there's no such thing as the 18 pip grid, but you just have to be realistic. If you want to trade with 50 pip stops because you don't want to get stopped out, you want to swing trade it, you would just go to the 50 pip handle chart and go, say, to the 4 hour and say to yourself, well, is there any way to make money on the 4 hour chart with a 50 pip stop and try to make 100? So I took my trusty fib tool and I rewrote it so that it reads buy and a stop and take profit. Now, if you're going to really risk 50 pips, then your entry is going to be here. So you calibrate this to the entry. And right here, when you drag it, you'll see it says 50. But it says angle is 2 degrees, this is 3 degrees, or it's 4 bar angle. So if you had an order, say, here, and you got in here at the 50-yard line, and maybe you didn't get out yet, but maybe you had a 25 stop, and that would look like this. But if you had a 25 pip stop, you got to get in at your order has to be sitting on the very edgy edge. And the wick thing, the problem I have with the wicks is the wicks are skinnier than the body, and the whole thing's important. I mean, if you're going to ride a 1 hour candle, who the fuck cares when it open and close? If they're smashing you around in there, like baby don't hurt me, you're fucking nuts. So you have to pick all these, I want to risk 15 to make 30. Well, you'd probably buy down here, and your exit would be up into the floor here, just out of common sense. And the sell side, I took the extension fib tool and I turned this into a sell tool. So you could plan your whole week ahead, never having to babysit this shit. This is the 50-yard line. If you have a stop, I'm not saying that it's not going to take forever to fill this order, but imagine the market comes up here. It doesn't go any higher than that, and that's where you're going to put your stop anyways. You're going to do that anyways, right? You have a series up here. I mean, are you going to make that money? Now, if you had done that on the way down, say you put a sell limit at this last known low for some stupid ass reason, and you said, you know what, I'm trading with 50 pip stops. They look like this. I got a sell limit right here on this low. Market comes up, hits it, does not hit your stop. Did you make money? Fuck, you could have made more. So are we going up a stairway or down a stairway? If we're going up a stairway right now, then we always have a trailing buy limit. And if we don't get the price we want, then we got to chase it. We got to chase it at the market. And that's all there is to it. Now you can turn the candles on. They're inside here. If you feel like candle anxiety, lack of candles, you just turn them on. And you can see how the wicks are de-emphasizing the price. All pips matter. In fact, there's probably more pips down here at the bottom. It's not weighted to show you that. That's why everybody's looking for these tick charts. A tick chart's better. Yeah, well, because they're only better because it's equal weight to each session. But they're not sessions now. Now they're just accumulation of volume based on the broker you're on, which is kind of ridiculous because the broker you're on could be completely hardly anybody's trading there. It's not really a true. That's why they say, oh, well, the futures market's transparent. Yeah, because everybody's looking at the same stupid ass fucking stuff. But what are people doing about what they're looking at? So if you wanted to trade with 50 pip stop, and as soon as you zoom out on here, you're going to see how ridiculous your trade might look. In the big landscape of what's going on, all you have to do is zoom in and out with a 50 pip grid and ask yourself, well, what happened here? Holy fucking Jesus. 150 pips spike up, and then we go down, what? 700 pips or some shit? So imagine you had a one of these big fundamental stops where, okay, you buy the new low here, and your stop's down here, and I can't say you made your money, but you came close. You're taking some heat there. Maybe you bought the retest. You never got filled if you put a buy limit here. So this is the disappointment. Is that you put a buy limit here and you're like, oh boy. Now had you run a trailing, and this is the 4 hour, mind you, so if you had a trailing, even a breakout of these fractals, which is a Williams fractal trailing on top of here, and you had buy stops here, just overpay like crazy, 150 pip stop. Here, about 110 pip stop on the breakout of that was a fucking genius move. Now, as the ATRs are drying up here, and you don't need an ATR bot to draw, all a trend line is a you know, if it's got the velocity to create this channel that failed, like if you consider this, you know, people are thinking, oh, this is going to keep going down. And, you know, it doesn't go any lower than this. So you have to use a little common sense that this here, unless you got the 100 pip, you have to run 300 pip stops on stuff like this. Who has in their arsenal a trade plan that includes you dropping? Now, if you had sell drops here with a 300 pip stop, sure, you pepper a few up there for kicks, you know. It'd be hilarious. Be like, yeah, I sold up there. Sure, the super fucking wide stop you did. Yeah, I sold it up right there. I had my stop above here. What are you talking about? Like, this is only a 100 pip window. I mean, you see, who's thinking the other side of the trade? Who's taking this trade up here? Are you kidding me, right? You're selling up here at the tippy top. Right here, you never get filled. Here you get filled because there's a double top where they break out, and this is the upper trap. Just like, here's the mini version. Anywhere on here, you see the highs. So you know this is where the longer term robots are getting crushed, is on the so when you watch a EA lose money, go look how it trades. It trades like a fucking idiot. I mean, it's only reinforces that you can out-trade it. And you just place the fucking orders there. It's stupid. It really is stupid. Look at this trap here for a huge winner, and your stop wasn't even near getting hit. You could have run a super ridiculous tight. Now the scalp looks like this, double your money scalp. So that's the scalp. All of a sudden you've got a 25 pip stop on that to make 50. That's not hard to do. So say you got a 25 to make 50, and I don't have it here, but you can hunt it down or rewrite it. You probably have to check all this shit. I wouldn't even trust anything it says on these labels, and that's why it's free. I would never charge somebody for this shit. They'd be calling me up every minute going, what the fuck, you fucking... I'm like, yeah, but hang in there. It'll be that, think I was nuts that I was trying to sell that. But what I can say is that with a 12, 8, and a 15 pip stop, if your whole world was this 5-minute chart, that you could obviously see the traps in here. You know, this isn't really that difficult. And never put too many bars. I say this is like the max. So where's a retest here? Okay, is this a triangle here? Let's not overthink it, you know, with the fucking, oh, it's this, it's that. Right? This is triple top, right? And if you look at the line chart the hidden message. There's a on the beat. There is a bottom become a top here on the beat, on the rhythm of the market. So the market's actually momentum is on close because it's price over time. It's not price in an instance of time. Every one of these things here. So here's the trap. Here's another beautiful trap here on the 5 minute where they take it back 1 pip here. So your buy limits are sitting here. If you really think this is still in an uptrend, you're either having to overpay by waiting for consolidation on these things and putting a buy stop there and a protection here. It's only a 10 pip risk for this explosion on the 5 minute chart, but then it's over. Fuck it. You could have got in here at a another pullback and rode it for another 10 pips. So you have to be very. Here's obviously triangle, right? I mean, how fucking retarded you can't see that fucking triangle? Like, what's a triangle? What is a wedge? Okay, it's a wedge. It's just pressure's building up, but see, it doesn't bear much fruit. And now they may have trapped the bulls here, so you have to sell here right now because they could rip it down. Now that they've trapped they trapped these guys on the closing session on Friday. They're like, oh yeah, man, it's good. And then whoops, it's like this, it's like rub-a-dope. And you can see the double bottoms, you can see the double tops. There is no ambiguity. You don't look down at some fucking stupid indicator. Fuck that shit. What are people doing with those indicators, for God's sakes? It's terrible. Here you can see the obvious structure of the market. The volatility is low because the white and the black line are close together. How am I losing money? Every time I don't have the patience for these stupid ass setups, I get so pissed off. Like, how fucking retarded is this market? And did any of the bulls have a stop down here? Like, okay, let's buy Judd. Hey, looks like a good deal. Look at, we got bullish confirmation. Okay, start buying. See, buy, and then wouldn't you know it, I put my stop right here. Those motherfuckers, are you kidding me? At the 10-yard line? Now, if your spread was tight enough, and ECN, right, you're paying like you're paying commissions, so you're guaranteed fill on the chart. That's why you're paying the big bucks, is so that the chart makes sense. Now, if the spread is so fucking wide that you put your buy limit here, and they're like, sorry, the spread's like down here. You gotta wait to get filled on this ticket to go on to just range trader, for God's sakes, right? Triple top breakout trap. Your sell limits are in a pack up here. Now your buy limits are down here. Okay, and you're short right now. You scalped hopefully 5 pips off of that. So on the top of this, you had a sell. You have a sell that's says risk, say 7 pips to make. 10 maybe not even. Maybe risk 10 to make 15. Not the best trade, but on tight broker, or you're sitting with your finger on the trigger. You get in here because you're scared shitless trading limits. They say you're not supposed to if you're a beginner. That's complete bullshit. Because if you know the risk, what the fuck would it matter? Watch this Albert Brooks, who the guy was going to be a surgeon. Maybe he should go back. I mean, I just watched his video. Now, it is true that if you try to break stop entry on momentum, but you don't know what's going to happen. Besides, they're going to kick you out first. They're going to kick you out and then run. So there's a kick out. Like here is a prime example. Just look at this. All these moves in here. This is the kickback to stomp out anybody that has already gotten long on this triple top breakout. And look at this trap. Oh, it's really going to break out now. They're just coming up and filling voids. So it's about the hole underneath. It's not about the price. It's about, oh no, we've got a void to fill. We're going to retest. Fucking duh. This is the top, the trap here. So but you're willing to sell here too, because you got to sell that whole stream to make this move. You can't just have one ticket. So right now you got a buy limit here, you got one here, you got one here. Now maybe they last for 3 hours, maybe they last for 500 years, but you just put the orders in, and that's all there is to it. And you'll see it's like dominoes. You set the dominoes up, and The market's hell-bent on moving up and down, as witnessed by previous incidences of the market going up and down. And that's all there is to it. So, it's also what you're comfortable with as far as risk, because, the 1 minute chart, I can't say that I would, but here you can see the traps real easy on the 1 minute chart. If you look at this low, big fat low right here at the 10-yard line, and here's where they cut through and they're grabbing liquidity from this zone here. You don't need market profile. If you do, then you're just wasting your time. You're just distracted. Here, obviously a wedge, right? So put a buy stop here. You don't have a choice. If you think it's going up, you don't have a choice. And if you think they're going to smash and retest the apex of the triangle, they probably are. In fact, they could go all the way through down like a zipper. But I'm not going to babysit this damn thing. I'm going to go out and attempt to maneuver. But this the market's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. It's up and down. Okay, here is the daily on a 25 pip, and here is the 50 pip daily, and here's the 10 pip daily. So it makes a difference what time frame you're on and how many pips you're trying to make. And see, this looks like really too close to the market. Like, really? But see, if you go to the 1 hour, you're like, gosh, this is the whole debate. Are you too close to the market, or are you not far enough away? Because if you're going to swing trade it, don't you want to get in at the lowest low and ride it to the highest high? But if you're breakout trading, you're supposedly a trend trader. So if you're a candlestick trader, there's two bullish candles in here. But they're still trapped in this volatility cage, like you're still waiting for stuff to happen. I guess I am always waiting for stuff to happen. So if you place orders tonight, you could actually go down and make a new low. Although there's some caution because of the triple bottom here. He's so close to the abyss of price. Don't forget the Eurodollar is on the abyss. So you can't see it below there, but people would be pretty mind blown if at the end of the year we unwrap this thing and it goes down to like 90 cents or some shit from way back. But there'll be lots of thrills and spills on the way there, a lot of bouncing around. Or maybe this is it. Maybe this is a real triple bottom. They do happen. So the daily here looks like, hey, it's safe, It's going to take a lot to press it down there. It's going to have to go down another 50, 75 pips to even get near that. Now, if you are a risk taker, you're going to put, but depending how it bounces, we don't know how it's going to bounce down there, but we definitely don't want to be, I don't know, I guess you could be selling into it, wouldn't matter. But if you got half a clue of where psychologically the market would bounce, or you just know mathematically, if you put everything on the 25-yard lines for the next 8 hours down here and just put a trap like that, and given the right stop, it's going to look like this trade did, where this was supposedly the first end of the world, and it was just nothing but a trap to them to take it up to here and rape people. So it's just the bigger context of that same where they rape you and then they cut you up in little pieces. And because even the buy stop bots, and here we're going to get it right. Daily buy stop bot is like waiting. He's getting trapped here, but man, he makes it all back. Even before the slam down, he's climaxing on all his, because it's a perfect void fill. So here's the triangle. The bat wing is outside of the price. Here's a bat. Here's a bat wing. So they're all these things. It's the under it's the backfill that's sucking it back down, and here it is the upfill. It's always trying to crush into new zones, and this is a long, giant cavity that just caved in. So you're looking at the price and around the price. Okay, looks like the euro is going to go up. Unbelievable. So, I'm just going to put some tight orders in, I guess. So if you look here at the 1 minute, at the 1 hour chart, so the market's been open for a whole hour now. Everybody's all giddy, I'm sure. So we could come slamming back at any moment. So if you look at the 4 hour chart and say, okay, well, can I leave this thing unattended? Some reasonable. Now this will be a completely new price down here. Pretty sure that's fresh price. If this is the daily, so how far from the edge of doom are we? We're only like what is that? That's 50. That's 60. That's almost 100 pips away. 80 pips from where we're at right now. And do you want to sell before we plunge down there, or do you want to buy just baby bounces here? And if they do go after that tomorrow, and they keep poking it down, maybe it's going to be a slow meltdown. It doesn't have to fall through the floor like the British pound. Of course, everything reaches its tipping point, and people just say, "Oh God!" I mean, not to mention, it's just the whole world's changing as far as the volatility on this thing compared to the big smashdown. It's basically 2 years of sideways, up and down. That long meltdown in there, that was something else. I mean, that's get her done speed. But this could be accumulation, it could be redistribution for another fall. So it goes sideways, and it's a monthly flag, and sure, it could go creeping down, but how do we get there, and how is the how is it going to be fast, or is it going to be a slow drip down? So if it's a slow drip down, you can just play the drifting channel. It's drifting up or down, or it's just going to get there really quick. Now, if it does spike down, say 150 pips, I'm looking at a smaller time frame to trade for sure. Because all of a sudden, if the ATR goes so nuts that I have to be on the 50 pip, I have to load a 50 pip template on the 1 minute chart. Now, that's what you would just take this, which you normally run a 10 pip template on, say, a 1 hour chart, and you got the 25 on the 4 hour, and you got this on the daily, this 50 pip grid, and you're placing orders based on all the. You wouldn't take a bias. You could counter trend trade what you think to know is a move up, or you could just play the trap trade with a buy stop in the direction of, like, if the volatility dies out, like this setup here where the volatility dries up, and so everything's getting quiet. It's obviously getting you got a wedge there, and here are all the traps for the people are starting to load up on the short side here. But once it fills, this is your Batwing, or this is your Twin Peaks. Once it fills that, the head, if this is the shoulder, is that vacuum's filled, and they got a little relief here. Of course, the breakout bots took that first. This is the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese down here. And maybe you are long on that thing with a 50 pip stop, and this is a 10 pip grid, so you could survive that. Plus, you load it up on this whole plunge. Now, that's the way I would build a position, so that at least some of these are scalps, and then, sure, if it should reach the ultimate bottom, becomes a top, and this is on a tick chart. When you see this bottom become a top, you know that on the tick chart and the 1 minute chart, that is totally still true. We don't know when this happened. We don't know when that happened. We don't know when this happened. But we know that people that are selling, of course, their sell limits never got triggered. They're probably disappointed. Not to say that later on, we're not going to go up here and do the same dumb fucking move. Comes up here, traps these guys, pulls back. There's the 10 pip scalpers, and maybe they hold on and it comes back to this top. Or it comes back to here, or it just spikes down in the morning and the buy limit guys are getting in here for a ride to fair value in here. So if all your trade plan is this back and forth shit, you know, you really aren't, like if you have sell limits up here for the breakout trap, now if they blow through that, of course, you're going to lose on that. But if you made money on the way up there because you're still long from this double bottom, then you're doing good. Here's a, anytime you can draw this, you figure this is the wedge to break out. Now, just the same, if you have buy stops here, you never got filled, you never lost any money. If your buy stops are riding on top of this 1 hour, you only got trapped here, and then you start to make money. So it doesn't matter. You're going to make more money, certainly, if you have a grid here that's capturing as the buy stops are stacking up. You have an equal amount, maybe, of limits. You have a limit and a stop and a limit strategy. So here, let's say you're like, oh yeah, well, you know, so let's put orders in here. I can't see though. You have to turn the colors on volume to see the entries. So say let's get in here. I want to get in right in this pocket here for just scalp for the next 8 hours. And sure, they could blow this out, but now how much is this? Is there life savings in here? Let's hope not. But you got to turn on the colors here. I'm not going to reload it. I guess I could do one more copy of this. Yeah, well, this is uploading. I'm going to throw this on the thing. With the yellows as the entry, the exits are not shown. But it's that stupid. Same thing on the sell side here. So if I want to sell up here tonight on the trap trade, turn on the volume for entry. That's going to be my sell limit. And you're going to sell the treetops first as easy trades, and say on the daily there is no sell. So you get up here, right? It's the obvious sell point. Top of this thing. So these are going to have you may not survive it with this. So here's a place to put one. I'm giving it whatever, how many hours, 12 hours to get up here. That may not happen, so. But that's the idea. You just place this stuff up there and hope for the best. That's just got to hope for the best. Nothing you do about the behavior of the market. Well, it looks like a pretty vicious. So the top of the hour just came, and it looks like it's going to be pretty vicious. So this is the big critical window here where you'll see that could be this stop right there, stop out. So let's put another order right there. Now you would trade pretty aggressive. You say, oh, you know, it looks like I could go up, but I don't want to overpay for it. So I put these in like this, and they probably will take this back to here. And if not, maybe they retest this low about there. I can't see the spread here, but it's spread indicator's not turned on either. But it's an indicator in there. If you're really picky about that, you get an indicator in there called spread. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a wacky thing. And here's the bars. If you just turn on pure bars, looks like a cage. And but if you go to candles, you just see the dots. You don't see the big ball things, which the arrows, you just see pure arrows when you're on candlestick mode. That's the only advantage. Candlesticks you just see. And it's blue for buy and red for sell. That's the only part of the code I think I got right. But yeah, that's it's like that. And of course these could last for 15 minutes, a half hour. If they were really big orders, I'd make them last a short period of time, because the theory is that if this is a 15-minute chart, is it going to take 2 hours to go down here and trap these guys at the 10-yard line for a scalp to the next 10-yard line with the 8-pip stop on that? So this is not that order, but if it had an 8-pip stop on that, it'd be like this, and be something like that. So that's all I got.